Mind mapping is a very powerful tool when it comes to solving problems. In this video, I'll show you how you can take a structured approach to problem solving, which will allow you to generate more ideas and better solutions. You'll hear about the 4-step method of problem solving, and you'll get a feel for how this can work for you. The first and most important step of all is defining what the problem is. Now this may seem pretty obvious, but actually a thorough examination of what the problem is can lead to a redefinition of the problem, or turning a huge problem into something manageable, and it helps you to get into the right frame of mind to solve the problems that may initially seem overwhelming. So the goals here are to have a narrowly defined problem that we're sure is not multiple problems but a single well-defined problem. We need to be sure that it really is the problem and that the problem is not being obscured by emotion or opinion or even hidden or open agendas or anything else. It's also important to understand why it's important to solve the problem, because this will give you the impetus to actually follow through with the process. Now the first 4 ways we examine the problem are based on what is known as the Cartesian quadrants, and the concept was originally applied to proving a theorem. However, we're using it in a slightly different way here because we're using it to examine the problem from all 4 of these perspectives, which will eliminate everything that is not the problem, and then we will also have a clear and concise grasp of what the problem really is. So don't be surprised if viewing the problem from these 4 perspectives completely changes the problem that you're solving, or even proves that it wasn't a problem in the first place. Often our original idea of what the problem is actually symptoms of the problem, and this method allows you to break through to the core problem. So let's think about this from the perspective of a problem of low sales within a company. So firstly, what is the problem? Well, it's low sales. Well, actually, it's low sales of widgets A, B, and C. By low sales, we mean that management have actually told us that we must increase revenues from all product lines by 15%, and we just haven't quite managed that with these widgets. Now, can you see by a simple examination of the problem, we've narrowed it down and defined more of what the problem is, so we have a much clearer focus. So you would add branches under the what is the problem branch to record the full definition as you put it together. Next, what is it not? Well, it's not that all sales are low, and it's not that we're not selling any of those widgets. Also, we haven't had any returns on those widgets, so it's not a quality problem with the actual product. Then we have this problem because management require us to increase revenues from all product lines by 15%, but sales of these ones have only increased by 5%. Not enough people are buying these widgets. Maybe they're not buying as many as we would like them to. Maybe we're not charging them enough for what they do buy. We don't have a solution for this problem because we've been concentrating on general marketing and haven't really targeted these products or the people that purchase them in our marketing. We really haven't made a point of letting these people know that the products even exist. So you can see that already some interesting lines potentially leading to solutions are opening up, but at the same time the problem itself is being knocked into shape and looks quite different now to how it was when we started the process. Now it's useful to cycle through these questions again because the ideas that you've generated may give you more ideas for the other questions. The next step is to think of the problem from the point of view of others. In this case, how would your salespeople define the problem? How would your management define the problem? How would your marketing staff define the problem? How would your customers define the problem? How would your prospects define the problem? How would people looking for the product but not knowing that you sold it define the problem? How would people who have a problem that this product would solve, who don't know about the product, define the problem? And finally, solving this problem will allow us to meet the demands of management, provide better service for our customers, get better wholesale prices from our supplier, increase our margins, and maybe get a bigger bonus. While we've been talking about this in terms of problems, I prefer to use the word challenge because our thinking about problems are often thoughts of fear and dread of these heavy things that weigh us down and hold us back, whereas challenges are things that we step up to and overcome and feel positive about our progress. Also, this methodology doesn't need to be about solving problems. You can use exactly the same method for identifying and going after new opportunities. So now let's go on to the 4-step method of solving the problem. Firstly, get the facts. Now, we've already included some facts in our problem definition, which is good, but here we define more of the detail of the problem and the environment that the problem is in. Now, when you review the record, make sure that you separate hard facts from opinions. Find out when the problem started, any identifiable causes, any deadlines or environmental factors to consider. When you're looking at the rules and customs, question what really are rules, like laws that you must abide by, and what is flexible. Ask why the customs are there and whether they're still relevant now. When you're talking to people, put yourself in their shoes to try and see it from their perspective. Listen to what they're saying, also from a devil's advocate role, questioning to yourself what is fact and what is opinion. Make sure you take people's feelings into consideration because in many cases the feelings are more important than the facts. Now you go on to brainstorming, ideas and solutions. I'll be doing another video specifically on brainstorming, but here are a few tips for you to use for the moment. Brainstorming is designed to be free from judgment, and the idea is to get as many ideas out there as possible. The concept is that quantity yields quality, and the more ideas generated, the more solutions you'll find. With brainstorming, you want to generate as many ideas as possible, just throwing them out there and recording just the keywords so that you can keep up, maybe using the BranchStorm feature of Novamind. To get things started, you probably generated some ideas and categories of ideas just from the problem definition exercise. Add those categories to your mind map and then add sub-branches for specific ideas. Think from the perspective of no resource constraints. Assume that you have infinite money, staff, time and expertise available at your disposal. You can pull it back to reality later. If the ideas come too fast to organize them as you go, just get them down there and organize them later. What if you run out of ideas? Here are some ways of getting the creative juices flowing again. You can get up and go for a walk and come back after half an hour. Another idea is to add blank branches to some of your categories and ideas so your subconscious will work on ways to complete these branches by supplying ideas. You can perhaps do this before going for your walk so that your subconscious has been triggered to search for specific ideas to fill these empty gaps. You can also use the suggesterator to come up with new words and associations and build your ideas from there. Choose some of the words near the end of the list of suggestions where they're more off-the-wall type suggestions and work out how they'll fit the problem. Think of ways of improving an existing solution or proposed solution. Ask the question, if there was another solution, what would it be? This tricks your brain into supplying another idea when you don't think there is one, and once you've come up with one more idea, the flow of ideas starts again. Ask, how would other people solve this problem? People from another country, your competitors, your ancestors, your children, and so on. Ask, what limitations on thinking have you imposed? How can you reverse or get rid of those assumptions and limiting decisions? And what possibilities open up when you do so? So the next step is to weigh and decide. During brainstorming, you were not judging anything. Ridiculous ideas were recorded along with sensible ones without any judgment. So now it's time to organize the information into different categories where you can have a branch for each category and the proposed solutions and ideas as sub-branches. Remember that there are always multiple solutions to any problem. Check what's going to be feasible, what fits with practices and policies, or where changing those practices and policies will be a better solution, and make sure you take into consideration the effects of your proposed solution on everyone involved, and whether the idea really does constitute a solution to the problem. If a solution looks ridiculous, ask how you could accomplish the same thing in a different way, or which parts of that idea we can actually use. Make sure the solutions fit with the facts of the situation and judge the impact on both the problem and anyone and everyone affected. Every potential solution will have pros and cons. Make sure the cost and time to solve the problem is worth it. Which solutions are you best equipped to implement? What are the short-term and long-term benefits of each solution? How do the solutions fit with your time and resource constraints? Record further details such as time frames and the steps involved in achieving the desired outcomes. And now you need to take action. Make sure that the actions are well defined and you know who's going to be carrying out the actions, whether they need help, and who needs to be informed about it. Make sure everything is carried out on time and to schedule. Finally, make sure that you check the results. Make sure your action achieved the desired results and that any side effects have been dealt with. Keep an eye on how people react to your solution. So that's given you the tools that you need to define the problem or challenge and implement solutions. Because it's all done in mind map format, you can easily communicate your chosen resolution to other people and they can see how you arrived at that solution. I wish you all the best with using Novamind to solve all your problems and generate new ideas and solutions.